Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Open Great League for the next 2 weeks. We're going to have 2 weeks of Open Great League as far as I know, so it's going to be interesting. If you enjoyed those videos, feel free to subscribe, but let's move right into the meta. Taking a look at the meta, we're going to see here that Quagsire, for example, is actually rank 3, like one of the mud boys that is really underrated. I made a video just before the Great League ended the last time about this Pokemon, definitely check it out, but the team is also going to be in the top teams here today. We're going to have just in general the standard meta. Gligar is actually fairly decent. I don't really have a team with Gligar directly, but I'm going to show you one just in a minute. Otherwise, you're going to just have the normal meta, a lot of water-type Pokemon. Like, honestly, I really hope that they're going to address that the next season, because, like, look at this. Like, this is absolutely insane. Like, how many water types can you fit into the top 100? Niantic says yes. Like, this is way too overpowered, so maybe something anti-water type will be very good, but the meta did not really change since the last time if you saw the video for the top teams around buff Pokemon. A few of the teams going to be in today's video as well, just because, again, we only have one week so far that we have as, like, I don't know, like as a base for this video, so there's most likely going to be some change in the future and also in the next 2 weeks where Great League is going to be available, so definitely stay tuned for this. Otherwise, Pokemon like Mantine or the Mandibuzz is going to be great right now in this meta as well, especially Mandibuzz. I would say is one of the most underrated Pokemon right now. Definitely try to do something with this. I'm gonna do a team with this Pokemon as well, very likely next week. But yeah, not in this video either. But otherwise, if you want to have some extra teams here, and if you want to see, actually, yeah, Mandibuzz is the #1 performer right now as well, for good reason. Here are going to be some teams on PvPoke as well. If you go on to train and then performers, you're going to get here some performers on like some teams as well for the Open Great League, which you can use as well. Not all of them going to be really exceptionally great, I would say, but a lot of them are actually going to be very decent. For example, here would be a team with Gligar. Some of the teams out here are also going to be in the video, not because I took them from this, but because this kind of showcases what people are using in the simulation from PvPoke. Basically, here there's like the train simulation where you can put your own team and you can test against the certain metas, and this is what this basically is based on. And so sometimes there are some funny teams in there that are actually performing good against the simulations, but not really that great in PvP in general, and sometimes teams are really good in both. So definitely some interesting resources here as well. Let's move right into the top team. If you want to support the channel, there's always going to be the membership option as well, but move right into team #1. As said before as well, basically right now we're only going to have like the base of 1 week of Great League so far in order to rank the kind of Great League, and it's something that I don't really like in terms of how the cups are kind of distributed right now as well. Basically that we have always like Great League, Ultra League, Master League, Great League, Ultra League, Master League. I don't really like this too much. I like the way before better, where we had like 2 weeks each league, and then like always like every week a new special cup, which was like way more fun in my opinion, but it is what it is. But yeah, this is going to be a line that I built, that I went 10-0 with at the end of the last time Great League was available, so like 2 weeks ago now. And this team was not revealed on YouTube yet. I revealed it on Twitter. I might actually post the footage that I have with this team as well, which I still have somewhere laying around. This team was great for me. Like, this team was really good for me. Got a 10-0 streak. Like, this was a really solid to play. Basically, your lead is Vigoroth. You kind of want to keep your Vigoroth alive. Say it's up going to be a Sableye. You try to bait out something like an Azumarill or something like, in general, like anything that kind of is good against this typing, because Sableye and Giratina have very similar weaknesses. While your Vigoroth going to be great against Ice-type Pokemon, which Giratina doesn't want to face. Vigoroth going to be great against Lickitung especially, which Giratina doesn't want to face. And Sableye can bait those basically out. And so this team was amazing for me. Still unbeaten, I guess, but I haven't played, of course, since then, because Great League is gone since then as well. But this was like my favorite team. Other people picked up on as well. Other people played this one because I posted on Twitter and they said they all went positive with it. So very solid team. I would recommend you to try it out. Can be sometimes maybe core broken by like dragon type Pokemon otherwise, but it's like not really the case, because still Vigoroth going to be fine. Sableye is still going to be neutral. But yeah, this team 10-0 for me, very solid team. Moving on, we're going to go up to the next line here. This is going to be something that I showcased as well on my channel. And this thing is basically everywhere. Like, this thing is basically everywhere. Like Hakoma-O, Dragonite, the Gust Lord, any kind of lead, say up for Relegator, and then either the Skarmory or the Lantern in the back. This was everywhere basically in the first week. I don't think it's because I like showcased it. It's just very logical to build a team around Relegator like this, because it just is basically putting Relegator in the best kind of spotlight. You can actually argue of going for Crunch over Ice Beam on Relegator if you like this. I used it with Crunch. I liked it with Crunch. Gives you a little bit of better play against Lantern. I know like people are going to complain, but Hydro Cannon is doing the same amount of damage. Yes, it does, but still, you're going to be able to get a debuff, for example, maybe with Crunch. Like, Crunch is definitely a very decent option. Of course, really depends on what you want to run. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, both of them going to be fine. 90% of the time, you're just going to go for the Hydro Cannon anyway, so it is what it is, whatever you want to run, Crunch or the Ice Beam. Moving on to team number 3, we want to have here the Shadow variant of the Dragonite in the lead. This is also a team that I showcased. Basically, Shadow Dragonite very good against fighting type Pokemon. Lickitung very good as a safe swap in general in any kind of meta right now. Like, this is the safest Pokemon of them all, but also a Pokemon that can bait out all the fighting type Pokemon. The most common fighting type Pokemon are Poliwrath and Annihilate, both of which we're going to have coverage that is going to be super effective. Annihilate Lick, and Power Whip is of course neutral, and for Poliwrath we're going to have Power Whip. And both those Pokemon would be very, very difficult for Empoleon to beat, and so this team is actually a lot of fun, of course. Dragonite and Empoleon Call, not rocket science. Made a video about this team as well, definitely check it out. Again, most of the teams I have in here made videos about or have like from somewhere else, because like again, we only have 1 week really of knowing the meta, and it was the first week of the season where Elo was not even available yet, so we're going to see how this is going to kind of change for the next time Open Great League is coming back again. I will do another video where we're going to look at some mostly like top leaderboard teams and whatever. Leaderboards run out then, so it's going to be a little bit easier then, but those are still very solid teams to start off for the upcoming 2 weeks. Team number 4. This was a meme team, and I went 19-6, I think, with the Shadow variant of Alolan Ninetales with Fire Spin as well as Scorching Sands. Not Alolan Ninetales, normal Ninetales, Kanto Ninetales. And the Quagsire as a Safe Swap with Awkward Tear and Stone Edge. Quagsire was like the Pokemon I wanted to build a team around. And then the Wigglytuff in the back, going to be able to beat quite a lot of the current meta. Like, a lot of Pokemon are really weak to Wigglytuff, or something like a Lickitung, for example. But there are quite a lot of Dragon-type Pokemon currently around. And with the Ninetales in the lead, which is not great against Dragon-type Pokemon, it is kind of nice to have a Wigglytuff in the back, I have to say. Of course, you can go for the lame alternative as well, going for Skarmory lead instead of the Ninetales and putting something like a Whiscash in the back instead. Then you're going to have a lame meta team, but like this is kind of fine. I really like this one. It's kind of built around the Quagsire Sace-Up, which again is rank 3 on PvPoke, and I don't think that this is kind of overrated. I think it's kind of where it's supposed to be as well, so definitely a very solid Pokemon for sure. Team number 5. We're going to have here a team that I use as well, and I love this one. Like, honestly, it's one of my favorite teams to use. Of course, very bulky with Cresselia and Lickitung. Cresselia is easy to get because we had it recently, basically as a quest encounter, so nobody can complain about not being able to use Cresselia. And then we're going to have Lickitung as our Sace-Up again. Yeah, like it is what it is. Lickitung is just something very, very easily to get, especially in like recent events. I think the last event we had, also like the double stars, the weather week, I think I had Lickitung as a spawn, at least for me it was everywhere. I get it the entire time out of 5 kilometer X, so like if you don't have the XL Candy yet, I don't know, like I have like 800 XL Candy or something for this Pokemon still, I don't know, but like it is kind of easy to get, to be fair. It's very expensive still, of course, like I don't really want to judge this, but Shadow Machamp was a lovely, like this Pokemon was amazing, as you can see on the right side as well. It literally destroys most of the meta, and it was so much fun to play, so for sure, if you can, pick up a Shadow Machamp, pick up a Lickitung, and of course, build your Cresselia. Cresselia don't care about the IVs, like literally as soon as you get like one for the Great League, it is worth it. Yes, IVs kinda matter for Cresselia as well, but just be happy with it, like it's fine. Here, Moonblast, by the way, for coverage against, what's called Gustlord. Gustlord would be a little bit tricky maybe if you encountered it as a lead, which we saw already in the team prior, where Gustlord was also in the lead, because Lickitung doesn't really like Gustlord, Cresselia doesn't really like Gustlord, so you have at least a little bit of coverage. Machamp does like Gustlord, but yeah, let's move on to team number 6. This team was a team I found on Twitter, as you might imagine, based on the title. This team was a Charjabug the Charjabug Feraligatr Zoomerl team. I don't know where I had it from. I know that I wanted to showcase it the entire time. didn't do any battles with it, completely forgot about it, but yeah, here it is. Seems to be a solid team. Like, I know it was like some Japanese player, I think, that played this one, and they climbed quite a bit with it, and so I would imagine that this is a solid team to use. On paper, it looks great, so I think it is great. Maybe you could even argue of going for Hydro Pump on Azumarill, but if you encounter Elite of Bastion, maybe go Azumarill Seisob. A lot of times it's going to be a Grass type in the back anyway, and then you're going to have to at least have Ice Beam to get the shield advantage. But yeah, otherwise, this is going to be it for this team. I saw it on Twitter, couldn't find really the post anymore, but it was a solid team, not my idea, but still very, very decent to play. Team number 7. This is an OG from last season. Like, this is also, I think, was in my other top team video as well. You saw literally basically every single kind of combination that you see here as well in PvP Poke just now, which I only knew afterwards, but this is basically one of the most common teams as well, with the Dragonair, Skarmory, and the Lantern. It is just very good. Like, what can I say, really? Basically, you want to win the lead, if possible. Like, winning the lead is really, really great for this team. And then align your Pokemon accordingly. Like, either Lantern or Skarmory, or especially Skarmory as well as Whiscash, is going to be great core. Just like in general, you can just put them together, and no matter what the opponent has in the back, you cannot usually hardwall them. But if you don't really want to rely on hardwalling them, and you kind of want to have a better Seisob, you can decide to go for Vigoroth over the Skarmory as a Seisob, and it should still work out. But here, as you can see, basically Lantern and Skarmory, other than like other Lantern, which is actually the biggest issue for this kind of team there as well, if your lead is going to be gone, going to be a perfect core. So maybe you can even go for Whiscash, would help with this for sure, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's move on to team number 8. Team number 8, I showcase this one as well. Very toxic line. I would recommend you to watch the video as well. By the way, I got a really good Bastion on which I'm going to build now over the next few weeks. I have to best buddy it though to get to level 51, and it would reach perfectly 1500 CP. So there's going to be Shadow Bastion content coming up, most likely a lot of times in the future, because honestly, you people love the Shadow lines. Like, honestly, like those toxic lines always get like a lot of interaction. So if you like to see it, I'm gonna let you see it. So definitely very cool team here again. Worked out super well for me. Different options as well. Like, if you want to go for something a little bit less squishy than Gallade, you can go ahead and go for your Annihilape as a Seisob. Having access to Ice Punch helps you out against Gligar. Gligar can be a little bit of an issue. Shadow Bastion actually beats a Shadow Gligar in the 2-shield scenario all the time as far as I know, which is one of the matchups where Shadow Bastion is actually better. Otherwise, Victory Bell, Trevenant, both fine in the back. Team number 9, this team is something that I played with the wrong fast move. I played, of course, with the Magnet Sound. I think it's Magnet Sound. Metal Sound it is, with Metal Sound instead of Volt Switch, and I still went crazy positive with Metal Sound, and I noticed how important Volt Switch was. So I feel like this team is amazing, like literally amazing to play right now. You see already how strong Magnezone is, and this is the cool thing. Basically, Magnezone is very similar in one regard compared to the Deoxys defense, because if you run it in the lead, you can just go for the nuke, don't care, swap out, and you're fine. Like, this is the thing as well with like Deoxys defense. You can just go ahead and go for your Psychic Boost. Here, you're just gonna go for a Wild Charge, swap out, and your debuff is gone. So, like, this team is like really, really good for me as well. Like, for sure, very, very solid team that I would recommend you to try out as well. There's basically no real weakness. I guess Gligar could be a weakness eventually. Hope that the Magnet... It's Metal Sound, right? It's Metal Sound. That Metal Sound gonna get buffed in the future, because I feel like it would actually help this team out having the fast move coverage of the Steel typing, but still with a Volt Switch is going to be great as well. So definitely something I would really recommend you to try out for sure. Final team for today is going to be a team that I played as the first team of the season. I think it's still very solid. I would recommend you to go for Bastion over the Registeel. I didn't really like Registeel too much, but Dragonair Seisob for Relegator as a closer was overpowered. Like, it was so good to have those two Pokemon in the back. I just did not really like the lead of Registeel. I think it's still possible to do it with Registeel. I just don't like Registeel in general. Would recommend you a Bastion instead, and I think this team is going to be great. But yeah, this is going to be it for this video. Let me know in the comment section what team are you going to play during the Great League. And this is going to be it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, check out the video on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.